The invisible trap you didn't notice. You didn't wake up one day addicted to your phone. No one does. It happens slowly, quietly, without resistance. What started as a tool became a reflex. What felt like control became dependency. And the most dangerous part is this: you still think you're in charge. Right now, your brain is being trained. Every scroll, every notification, every quick hit of stimulation is shaping how you think, how you feel, and how you act. Researchers from top universities have observed that repeated exposure to fast, unpredictable rewards conditions the brain, the same way animals are trained to press a lever for food. You are not just using your phone, you are being programmed by it. And here's the truth most people avoid. This is not about time, it's about control. If you can't go a few minutes without reaching for your phone, if silence feels uncomfortable, if you constantly need something to distract you, then something deeper is happening. You are losing the ability to focus, to think clearly, to stay present. You are trading long-term growth for short-term stimulation, and the worst part is that it doesn't feel like a problem. It feels normal. But normal doesn't mean harmless. There are clear signs that your phone is holding you back. Most people ignore them until years are gone. Opportunities are missed, and their potential is already compromised. You are about to see these signs, and once you see them, you won't be able to ignore them again. You can't stay alone with your own mind. Try this. Sit in silence for a few minutes without touching your phone. No music, no scrolling, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. Most people can't do it. That discomfort you feel is not random, it is conditioning. Researchers studying behavior have shown that when the brain gets used to constant stimulation, it starts rejecting stillness. Just like animals trained to expect a reward after every action, your mind begins to crave input all the time. The moment there is nothing happening, it pushes you to escape. That is why you reach for your phone without even thinking. Not because you need it, but because your brain has learned that silence equals discomfort. And here is where the real damage begins. When you lose the ability to sit with your own thoughts, you lose something essential. You lose clarity. You lose self-awareness. You lose the ability to process your own life. Some of the most important decisions you will ever make require uninterrupted thinking, reflection, internal dialogue. But if your first reaction to any pause is to fill it with noise, you never go deep enough to understand what you actually want. Experts in cognitive psychology explain that creativity, problem-solving, and emotional control all depend on moments of mental stillness. Without them, your thinking becomes shallow, reactive, and impulsive. Now think about this. If you can't even stay alone with your own mind, who is really in control? And this is only the first signal. Your attention span is collapsing. You start a task, and within minutes, your mind drifts. You check your phone, open another app, switch tabs. Then suddenly you realize you've done almost nothing. This is not lack of discipline. It is trained distraction. Studies from neuroscience labs show that constant exposure to short, fast content rewires your brain to expect quick rewards. Your attention system adapts. It stops tolerating anything that takes time, effort, or depth. In simple terms, your brain is being trained to get bored faster. Every time you jump from one stimulus to another, you weaken your ability to stay focused. It becomes harder to read, harder to study, harder to work on anything meaningful. Not because you are incapable, but because your brain is no longer used to sustained effort. Experts in high performance explain that deep focus is like a muscle. If you don't train it, you lose it. And right now, most people are training the opposite. They are training distraction. This is why simple tasks feel exhausting. This is why you avoid anything that requires concentration. Your brain is no longer wired for depth. It is wired for speed. And here is the dangerous part. The more you rely on quick stimulation, the harder it becomes to return to real work. Over time, your baseline for effort drops. What used to be normal now feels unbearable. You are not just losing focus, you are losing your capacity to build something meaningful. And it gets worse. You feel busy, but produce nothing. At the end of the day, you feel mentally exhausted. You feel like you did a lot, but when you stop and look at what you actually produced, there is almost nothing there. This is one of the most dangerous illusions. Your brain is active all the time, consuming information, reacting to content, switching between inputs, and because your mind is constantly engaged, it creates the false signal of productivity. It feels like effort. It feels like progress, but it is not. Researchers in cognitive performance have observed that passive consumption activates the brain in a completely different way than focused creation. One drains energy without building anything. The other requires effort, but produces results. Scrolling, watching, clicking, reacting. None of that moves your life forward. But your brain does not naturally distinguish between movement and progress. It just registers activity. That is why you feel tired. You are burning mental energy without direction, like running on a treadmill, putting in effort but staying in the same place. And over time, this creates something even worse. It lowers your standards. When your daily routine is filled with low-effort stimulation, real work starts to feel heavy. Discipline feels unnatural. Creating something meaningful feels like a burden. Experts in behavior explain that your brain adapts to the level of effort you repeat. If most of your day is spent consuming, your brain starts to resist producing. So you stay stuck in the cycle, busy but not moving, active but not progressing. And the longer this goes on, the harder it becomes to break. You reach for your phone without thinking. Pay attention to this. How many times do you pick up your phone without a clear reason? No notification, no purpose. Just an automatic movement. That is not a decision. That is a programmed response. Behavioral studies show that habits follow a simple loop. A trigger appears, you take an action, and your brain receives a reward. Over time, this loop becomes stronger until it runs without conscious effort. Your phone is built around this system. A moment of boredom, a slight discomfort, a pause between tasks. That is the trigger. Your hand moves. You unlock the screen, you scroll. That is the action. Then comes the reward. A new post, a message, something unpredictable that gives your brain a quick hit of stimulation. And the unpredictability is what makes it addictive. Researchers have observed that variable rewards, the kind you get from scrolling, are the most powerful at reinforcing behavior. It is the same mechanism used to train animals to repeat actions without thinking. Now look at your own behavior. You check your phone while working, while eating, while talking to someone. Sometimes you don't even remember why you picked it up in the first place. That is loss of control. When an action happens without intention, it means your brain is no longer leading. It is reacting, and every time you reinforce that loop, it becomes harder to break. Experts in habit formation explain that awareness is the first step, because you cannot change what you do not notice. So the real question is not how often you use your phone. The real question is how often you use it without choosing to, and if this is happening constantly, there is a deeper problem forming. Real life starts to feel boring. You sit down to do something important. Work, study, even a simple conversation, and after a few minutes, it feels slow and heavier, almost unbearable. But the same brain that struggles to focus for 10 minutes can stay locked into a screen for hours. This is not coincidence. It is adaptation. Neuroscience research shows that when your brain is constantly exposed to high-intensity stimulation, fast videos, endless novelty, instant rewards, your baseline changes. Normal life can't compete with that level of stimulation, so everything real starts to feel dull. Tasks that require patience feel exhausting. Conversations feel less engaging. Even your goals start to lose their appeal. Not because they are meaningless, but because your brain has been trained to expect more intensity, more speed, more reward. And real life doesn't work like that. Real progress is slower. It requires effort, repetition, and delayed gratification. But when your brain is conditioned to chase quick dopamine hits, anything that doesn't deliver immediate pleasure gets rejected. Experts in behavioral science explain that this creates a dangerous imbalance. The more artificial stimulation you consume, the less motivated you feel to engage with reality. That is why you procrastinate. That is why you avoid difficult tasks. That is why you feel stuck. Your brain is not broken. It is and if you don't reset this pattern, your motivation will continue to drop even as your ambitions stay the same. You will want more, but do less. And that gap is where frustration begins. You avoid what actually matters. There are things you know you should be doing, decisions you've been postponing, work you've been avoiding, conversations you keep delaying. And every time you feel that pressure, you reach for your phone. This is not random. It is escape. Psychologists studying behavior have observed that humans naturally avoid discomfort, but when there is instant access to distraction, that avoidance becomes constant. Your phone becomes the fastest way to silence pressure, even if only for a moment. You feel stressed. You scroll. You feel uncertain. You watch something. You feel overwhelmed. You check notifications. The problem is not the action. The problem is what it replaces. Instead of facing what matters, you delay it, and every delay makes it heavier. What could have been solved quickly turns into something you keep carrying for days, weeks, sometimes years. Experts in cognitive psychology explain that avoidance reinforces anxiety. The more you escape, the more your brain associates important tasks with discomfort, and the more discomfort you feel, the more you escape again. This is how you get stuck. Not because you lack ability, not because you lack opportunity, but because you trained your brain to choose relief over progress. And here is the part most people ignore. Every time you avoid something important, you send a message to yourself. You are telling your brain that you are not in control, that you can't handle pressure, that distraction is easier than action. Over time, that becomes your identity, and once that happens, breaking the cycle is no longer about time management. It becomes a fight for control over your own behavior. You know IT's a problem, but you don't stop. At this point, you already know. You've felt it. You've noticed the patterns. You've told yourself you should cut back, be more focused, take control again, but nothing changes. This is where it stops being a habit and starts becoming dependence. Researchers studying behavioral addiction explain that the strongest sign of loss of control is not usage, it is awareness without action. When you clearly see the problem but still repeat the behavior, it means your impulses are overriding your decisions. You say you will use your phone less, but you don't. You plan to focus, but you get pulled back. You set limits and then ignore them. That gap between intention and behavior is the real signal. And it creates something even more dangerous: internal conflict. Part of you wants to improve, to grow, to take your life seriously, but another part keeps choosing the easiest escape available. Over time, this creates frustration, guilt, and a quiet loss of self, because deep down, you know you are capable of more. Experts in performance psychology explain that repeated failure to follow your own decisions weakens your sense of control. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing that your actions match your goals. And once that happens, discipline feels harder, not because it is, but because your identity has been shaped by inconsistency. This is why so many people stay stuck, not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't act on what they already know. And if nothing changes, this pattern doesn't stay the same. It gets stronger. Take your mind back before it's too late. This is the moment most people avoid, because now you can't say you didn't know. You've seen the signs. You've recognized the patterns. And more importantly, you've probably seen yourself in them. That means one thing. This is no longer about awareness. It is about decision. Researchers in behavioral change explain that insight alone does not break a habit. Action does. And action only happens when the cost of staying the same becomes greater than the discomfort of changing. So understand this clearly. If you keep going like this, nothing improves. Your focus gets weaker. Your discipline fades. Your time keeps slipping away in small, invisible losses that add up over years. Not days, not weeks, years. And no one is coming to fix that for you. Taking your mind back is not complicated. But it is not easy. You start by breaking the automatic loop. You remove triggers. You create friction. You stop letting your phone be the first thing you touch in the morning and the last thing you see at night. You force moments of silence, even when it feels uncomfortable, especially when it feels uncomfortable. Experts in high performance emphasize that control is built through repetition. Small, consistent actions that prove to your brain that you are in charge again. You don't need motivation. You need standards. Because every time you choose focus over distraction, you rebuild control. Every time you resist the impulse, you weaken the pattern. And over time your brain adapts again. But this time, endure favor. This is not about using your phone less. This is about deciding who is in control of your life. And if you don't make that decision now, your habits will make it for you.